Greetings everyone and welcome back. My name is Alfred, and in this episode we are going to create one user for our repository, and then we are going to use that user to create a project that we're going to be working with. All right, so let's just go ahead and do that. But before we do that, I changed my IP address. So I changed my network, and that changed my router IP address. And for that, I'll have to update my IP address. All right. So for me to be able to do that, now I have a new IP address, which is 192.168.1.234. Let me just go ahead and try to update their IP address. And the first thing I need to do is to change the IP address that I was using before, which was this one here. And now I'm going to update that to the new one, which is 234, this one here. All right. So I don't think you need to update your IP address, because I think you've not changed your network. But as for me, I needed to change that so that I can reach out to our GitLab repository server, which is this one here that we defined in the previous episode. All right, so I'm going to save that, and then I will go ahead, and here I should be able to get to my project or to my repository, which we created last time. And now what we are going to do in this episode, we're going to start off by creating a new user for repository. Currently we are using the root, and we're not going to be using root to create our project. So we're going to have a new user that's going to be used to create a new project. All right, so let me just go ahead and sign out. I'm going to sign out of the repository, and I will try to log in again. For now, I'll just want to use the root account so that I can create a new user. I just want to make sure that I can still log in again. So here, what we're going to do, as you can see here, when I click on your work here, it's going to bring me the admin area here. So I'm just going to click on the admin area, and here, as you can see, I have 0 projects. It's counting that I have 4 users. I'm not sure why, but I only have 1 user, who is the a root user. Right, so what I want to do, I want to go ahead and create a new user, and I'll create a new user for repository, and I'll call the new user Alfred, like that. I'm going to use this same name for the username, and for the email, I'm going to have alfred@later.com. It's a fake email. It's not a working email, so no worries. If you're creating a new project for a company or for yourself, just please make sure that the email that you provide, it's a working email, because you might need to use that email to reset your password later. Right? So I'm going to create this user as a demonstrator so that we can use the user to create a new project. And that being there, I'm going to go ahead and create the user. And that should create a new user now. As you can see, we have a new admin user created successfully. What I can do, I'm going to go ahead and try to edit this user, and the thing that I want to edit is on the password. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to give the user the same password that the root user used. So go ahead here, and I'll paste in the password, and again, to confirm that the password is the same And then after that, what I have to do is just go ahead and save changes. And that should save the changes. I'm going to save that so that the browser will remember me. And then after creating the user, what we can do now, we can just go ahead and log the root user out. So I'm going to sign out the root user, and I'm going to log in now using the new user that we've just created. All right, I'm going to click on remember me. I'm going to go ahead, and it tells me to update the password. What I can do, I'm going to just paste in the same password. It's because I don't want to change the password to something new. All right, I'm going to change the password. The password changed successfully. I'm going to choose Alfred. He's the guy that we want to log in. And now here we are now logged in, and this time around we do not have the root user, but we have just a user that has administrator's credentials. All right, and he has the admin privileges. All right, okay, so what we can do right here, what we are going to do, we can just go ahead and create a new project. All right, so I'm going to click on create new project tab there. I'm going to create a blank project, and now here is where I'm going to get my project name. So I'll put my project name here. I'll call it Liter ERP, and then if it is going to ask me to pick a group or namespace, I'm going to pick the user, who is Alfred for now, and the project slug, it's going to be Liter ERP, just like the project name. All right, it's going to be a private project, and then it's going to ask me if I need to initialize the repository with README file. I'm going to say no. Right, and now here what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click on create project, and that should scaffold a new project on our GitLab repository. And here we have a new project now that we've already created. This project has nothing for now, so what we are going to do, we are going to create this project on our machine, and that we're going to push that project to this repository. All right, so what we can do, I'm going to bring in the git bash here, and I want to create a project here. I'll be creating a Laravel project. You can just go ahead and create whatever project that you would wish to. For me, I'll be creating a Laravel project, and that's the project that we're going to be using throughout the course. All right, so here I'm going to create a project on my desktop. So I'm going to say cd desktop, and here's where I'm going to create a project. I'm going to say Composer. I'll use Composer to create a Laravel project, and I'm going to say create project, and it's a Laravel project, so I'm going to call it Laravel, and the name of this project, you can just go ahead and call it whatever you want. As for me, I'm going to call this project Liter ERP. All right, so I'm going to press the enter key on my keyboard, and that should create a new Laravel project. It's gonna take some time to scaffold the project, but within some minutes, it should be done within some few seconds. And as you can see now, the project is created successfully. And what we need to do is to add this project to the Git repository that we just created. All right, so what I am going to do, I'm going to Before we add this project to our repository, we should connect our GitLab repository to our machine here using the SSH key. So what I can do, I'm going to go ahead here and in preferences, I'll go ahead and here you can see SSH keys. As you can see, we do not have keys for now. What we can do, as you remember, we already have the SSH key in our machine here. On our local machine here, we have the SSH key that we generated earlier, and that's the key that we're going to use to connect to our GitLab repository here. So what I'm going to do, I'll go ahead and bring in another terminal here, and I'm going to cut the SSH key, or I'm going to copy it and paste it on the GitLab. So I'm going to cut, and this one should be inside the SSH, and it should be id rc.pub, and this is the key that we're going to use to connect to our GitLab. All right, so I'm going to copy all of the key. I'll come here and I'll go ahead and paste in the key. It's going to ask me if I need this key to expire. I'm going to remove the date so that it's not going to expire. And then I'm going to just add the key like that. And our key is added successfully. And now we can use that key to go ahead and push the code to this repository here that we had already created. All right, so let's just go ahead and do that. And for us, we're going to use this option here because we already have an existing folder. All right, so let's just go ahead and do that. And the way to do that, I'm going to this terminal here, the one we use to create our project, and I'm going just to clear the console for now. What I want to do, I want to init a project here. So I want to create a git file here. So what I can do here is git init, and that should initialize a new git repository file, which is this one here. And it should not do here. I think we should get inside the, I initialized it in the wrong part, so sorry for that, but I have to get into the later ERP folder, and here is where we should now initialize our git repository file inside this folder that we created our application in. All right, so, and what I can do, I'm just going to go ahead and add the remote repository on our local repository. So this is the remote repository, and here we have our local repository, and that's where we are going to add the repository, so that we connect both the repositories, the local repository and the remote repository here. All right, so I'm just going to paste in whatever I copied from the other side, and that is now added as our remote repository. The next thing that I have to do, it's just add the file that we want to push to the remote repository, and I'll go ahead and add them. Just go ahead and type git add and then space period. That should add all the files that we want to commit to our new repository that we created. All right, and then what next thing to do is to commit the changes and push them. So here I'm just going to have this git commit -m for message, and then initial commit. That looks fine with me. If you have another message, just please go ahead and type it inside the quotes here. All right, so I'm going to commit that. The next thing to do is to set the branch that we are going to track on our local repository, and I'm going to paste this in. One thing I have to do is, as you can see, that I did not create the main branch. I only have one branch, which is master. So if I were to run this command here, it's gonna fail. So what I can do, I'll go ahead and change this one to master branch. All right, and that should write to the master branch the project's files. All right, so if we want to refresh this page now, instead of having this documentation there, we are going to have our project. Now our project is online on our repository, and we are going to stop here in this video. When we come back, we shall continue from here. Thank you very much for being with me on this one. I'll see you in the next one.